Good morning. It's Michael and Julianne Duffy checking in for week 64 of Visibility University. We hope you're all doing well. We got there's some changes at YouTube we should address that happen this week.
Yeah, you sound so unsure of yourself, Mike.
Well, it keeps telling me on my end that I'm muted, but I don't see that I'm muted. So it's like, I think I'm live.
Yeah, I can hear you, so I think
I
we're
know
good.
it's telling me I'm muted, and I'm like, I'm not muted, but software is amazing all the time. So, you know,
Well, let's get into it. We are going to talk about today, and so this is our Ask Us Anything. We'll still take questions. So if you are live, drop your questions in the chat. We will discuss them after. But we're going to start with YouTube has announced a big monetization change. So if you've been following on YouTube, you've probably heard about it. You've probably already kind of made up your own mind about it. And if you haven't, now we're going to give you all the details on what is happening and what is staying the same. So would you like me to start with what's not changing with the monetization program?
you go ahead. The people who said they'd be here this morning, I'm just gonna go remind them that we're live. So go ahead.
Okay. So what isn't changing with the YouTube partner program? So there's some changes coming up, but what is going to stay the same is you will still need that thousand subs to become or to go into the entry and to start the forward movement towards the partner program with YouTube. If you are already under the YouTube partner program, you don't have to requalify, so that's nice. So your status doesn't actually get affected. However, there is some things that could affect you, which we will talk about. There is still that lower expanded tier that they announced this year, which is 500 subs. You only need 3,000 watch hours or 3 million short views in 90 days. And that unlocks funding, creator partnerships, shopping, and this is an on-ramp tier. So that stuff's still staying there. So you still get those abilities with 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours. You can still open those up. Those still are starting at that same threshold. Now there is no exclusionary country. So this is really going everywhere. So this is going to be, no matter where you are, if you're wanting to join the partner program, these are going to be the same criteria. And if you do fall below the shorts revenue, share maintenance threshold does not remove. It just it does not you don't get removed. It does not touch your long form earnings. It just doesn't. If you fall under the shorts threshold that we're going to be talking about, you don't lose your status. You just don't get money till you hit it again, right? So why don't you go over what's changing?
Well, I think that shorts piece is they're.
Well,
I'm not
it's
worried.
right on your list, Mike. It's literally called "What's Changing." So if you want to, just to remind you.
No, I know. I'm looking. I'm just like thinking of it. I'm like, I don't think I've fully digested these changes, but I realistically don't think they'll affect me because I really don't. Shorts don't really affect me, but long form does. But I think the hours in my situation are fine. But okay, long form entry requirement hours. So currently, it's been 4,000 watch hours in a current 365-day window. That requirement is doubling in order for you to be accepted into the YouTube Partner Program. But if you're already in the YouTube Partner Program,
That's staying, as we were talking about.
that's staying. We'll see if they impact. What's going to be the minimum requirement for you to have each year, though? Your goal should have always once you got into the YPP, the YouTube Partner Program, you should have been focused on 4,000 watch hours per year at minimum anyway. So we'll see how that affects people after February. February 1st is when it changes, right?
Exactly. So you've still got a little bit of time, which we're going to talk about. But I want to do a shout out. Good morning. Kirsten is here. Thank you for joining us. We have Allura Turner. Thank you for joining us. And we also have a Lloyd's Murrell. I apologize if I said that wrong.
Welcome. And
So,
if if you're new, reminder to subscribe so you get reminded every Saturday morning when we go live at 9 a.m. Eastern. We've met a lot of people recently in Texas, especially Austin. So if you're dropping in from Austin, just make a comment so we know. No matter where you're watching us from, drop it in the comments so we know how our audience looks this particular week, right? Because things people come and go through YouTube as they're trying to build their channel and either have success or get upset with it. And then, this is
Okay,
why we.
yes. Thank you for joining us. Let's get subscribed. Okay, let's go back to what is changing. So we know you're going to have double the watch time hours now going forward. That is the big change just to apply for the YouTube partner program, correct? What else is changing?
Shorts is changing. So the requirement's going from 10 million to 20 million views. So realistically, everything's doubling for your view requirement in order to get into the YouTube partner program. And then they're changing like shorts revenue share. So this is the part I was, when you're building a YouTube channel, two ways to build it, right? Long form and short form. So I think this is really just making you focus on the format that works best for you, right? That's what
Yes,
I kind of felt
I,
like.
I, I
Felt
do. I would say that's probably a really good summary because you're getting from 10 million views to qualify. Now it's going to 20 million, right? So you got to double the views to qualify under shorts, just like you have to with the long. That's the 4,000 and the 8,000. But it is very much like it's going to be harder to meet one of those if you don't pick one lane, right?
exactly pick one lane and master it, and maybe that's it. It's this is just pick one lane and master it. I think that's really summing up YouTube changes right now. Just mastery of the content you feel comfortable with making and can bring value to your viewers.
Mm-hmm.
We could discuss why we think YouTube made these changes, but there's changes now to focus on. So it's like plan out your content, get your content created, and make sure you're bringing people to your channel. Okay, so we
And then the
talked
new
about
is the channel activity requirement.
exactly.
Now they've actually, so this was always suspected that you had to have a requirement, but I don't think YouTube was always necessarily consistent that if you didn't stay up to these, that they would demonetize you or kick you off. Now they're adding that in to that, right? So the channel activity is now to maintain your status as 1,000 watch hours in a year, so in 365 days, or at least 1 million views within 90 days, or 2 long form videos, 5 shorts every 90 days, or 5 shorts. I'll have to double check that. And you do get a 90-day grace period. So they'll just warn you, and then they give you like 90 days to go and produce this content to stay in the program.
Correct, and I think that's at least fair to say. Hey, there's a notice 90 days. That's kind of like the 90-day period you get if they flag your account for any violation, and you're supposed to fix your account and then respond. So it's kind of they warn you, and you just have to make sure that you're going to do the work to stay in the YPP, right? But
Exactly,
let's
exactly.
talk.
And it's well, unfortunately, we have seen this often where we've seen creators, they've been successful and they disappear. And YouTube wants you to keep showing up, right? And so at least they're now going to hold you accountable. They're going to be like nudge you and be like, "Hey, if you want to stay here, you got to produce some content." We have
Well, it's like I was telling you yesterday, like somebody I've been talking, like when I go and meet people, they're like, "Oh, I got YouTube," but then I find 6 different accounts. I'm like, I understand why there's 6 different accounts, but we need to focus on building one channel successfully. So that's what we're here for you.
Exactly. And I'm going to say a shout out. Hello, Turbo how would you say that? Felicia?
Yeah.
I like
Well,
it. I like that name. That's awesome. Hello, and thank you for joining us. Okay, so that the only thing that changes if you are already under the YouTube partner program is you have to accept the new updated terms. You are already grandfathered in, so you just have there'll be terms updated on your account. You have to accept them before February 1st. So that is the only other thing that has to happen. So if you are a creator and you're already monetized, that's the only thing you'd have to do.
okay, question. Have you accepted them on your back end yet?
Not yet. No, 'cause I always see them. I was like, yeah, you know what? I've got 5 months. I got 5 months to accept it. Oh, I
And
will accept
maybe that's a comment. It's like they announced this, and there's now on our back end. So if you're not in the YPP, okay, anybody in the YPP right now, you're gonna, if you log into your account, you're gonna have a pop up. There's terms and conditions they want you to agree to now. I've just thought it was
Yes.
funny. I'm like, neither of us have accepted the terms.
It's so fun. I'm totally one of those. It doesn't matter what platform it is. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's banking, it's this, that. When they want me to accept anything, I usually skip it until like the last time because I always feel like, especially after we do our Two Real show, I need to actually go and look at it. I have to actually take the time and read what I'm actually confirming. They're telling us this. This is a summary. Have I read the terms and conditions? No. Do I
I'm
want
just
to? I do want to, that's why I will avoid it until I've got, put that time to actually look at it.
I just thought it'd be funny. Quiz us on the spot. No, we haven't. I'm not. Yeah, I haven't accepted them yet. I'm accepting them mentally. If somebody asked me this week about, so the next part we're going to move on to is what if you're not in the YPP yet, but you're working towards it, and like some of our students were, their first, currently the first level of the YouTube partner program for long forms. Thousand, it's still the 1,000 subscribers, but it's the your first interval to get to is 3,000 watch hours, and then 4,000. And we know we've got people that we coach that are probably in that 1,000 to 2,000 mark right now. And
Yeah.
good news is, still got 5 months.
Well, and we're gonna get to that. We are gonna get to that. You're jumping ahead. But but it does bring up the urgency, right? Because we do have that who this is gonna affect. It's anybody that isn't monetized. If you're building towards that and you're like if you have some watch time and you've been making content, you've got 5 months. So you've got this like area of 5 months where you can kind of make up that difference because okay, if you think about it, if you are like you were saying at that 1,000 watch hours and you need 4, you only need to get 3 more to qualify. But if you decide not to do anything, not to start going forward after February, it's going to be 5,000 more. No, wait, what am I saying? Isaac can subtract. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. 7,000 hours. I'm right on top of that this morning. Woo! Good thing I can do math. Math's hard. You're allowed to make fun of me.
No, I'm not, because I'm not going to say anything. So.
Okay.
So yes, the whole point of, if you're working towards it now, you still got the old rules to go by. You still got lots of time if you follow the systems that we've been coaching over the last 64 weeks.
Exactly, right? Again,
so get it before things change in February. So if you're working towards, go get your 4,000 watch hours before it flips on you to 8,000.
Exactly. Because okay, if you've already met that lower tier, that 500 subs and the 3,000 watch hours, like you're so close. Then it's like the push to get the subs and 1,000 more watch hours in 5 months, right? So it's just that's going to affect you too because you're really on that cusp. So if you're on that cusp, I would highly suggest that you get a little motivated and attempt to get across that line because there's a lot of perks being in the YouTube partner program. Now, of course, we don't promote this as being the main reason. We don't talk about going to YouTube to make money. That's not necessarily the main reason to be on YouTube. We talk about all the other benefits that won't go away after February 1st. So no matter if you start now or you do decide not to and you start sometime next year, you're still going to get those type of perks of being able to see the SEO returns, all of these things we've talked about, right? However, if you can get to that monetization program and then you only have to do 1,000 hours of content to maintain it, why not get into the program, right?
Push yourself for 4,000, then slack down to 1,000.
Hey, that's okay, bare minimum, until you start making money and you're like, wait, if I work a
Well,
little bit
no,
harder, I might make more
I'm
money,
just
right?
I'm just laughing because our conversations with like content creators are so diverse because some don't care about AdSense. They're like, no, I just want to show up on a Google search, or I want to show up on a YouTube search, or like I got so much competition, I just want to outrank them. So they're thinking of just like the quicker short term returns from leveraging YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And then others are like, I want 10,000 a month from YouTube, and I'm like, how do you have a current YouTube channel? It's like, no, and it's like, well, that's we need an audience, and we need watch time in order for that to happen. So some know
Exactly.
about
You gotta
AdSense and they're
see.
focused on it, and others don't care. So
Well, and again, it's interesting because I saw another ad, and again, they were like, "Oh, our average is 15 million views." Views don't matter. You want the watch time. Okay, yes, and if you're doing shorts, then your views matter because now you need 20 million views. So even this person that was advertising 15 million views was the average for their clients.
it's it's
I don't know if that's long or shorts, but if it's shorts, it's not good enough anymore because that doesn't even get you to the monetization level,
well,
right?
and I'm just calling out coach. You know what? Coaches like you, internet's full of coaches, internet's full of YouTube coaches, and this is why I've never really focused on shorts views or numbers or guaranteeing people anything, because realistically the goal is to just make content and consistently weekly on YouTube so you have content there,
Well,
not
and
focus on
it's not
particular
only
amount
the
of.
goal of content, sorry, it's not only the goal of content, it's the evergreen, like, if somebody looks
Yes.
you up, they see your backlog. You're proving your authority, you're building trust in a trustless society. Continue. Sorry,
The
I just wanted
mind,
to make sure
the thoughts just left my mind.
that um,
Not enough coffee yet.
not no, exactly, not enough coffee. Not
I,
enough coffee.
I've lost that train of thought. It's left the station, so you can just roll on.
I apologize, that's totally my fault because I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out about all the
No,
different things,
I
right?
was talking about YouTube coaches.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, bring this amount of leads in, or get this amount of views, or make this. I'm like, it's nice to have particular long term goals. Say, I want to get to this point, but as everybody under knows, if you know me, I'm a realist. I'm like, just start making the content. No pressure. Just make the content weekly, because you can always grow and improve, and you're focused on short term gains like making content every single week. But when our hard goal is like something huge,
Well, and
it's
to maintain
attainable,
it, and
but
it's not natural as well, right? So I always wonder, especially with those people promoting how many views or whatever, and they always it's views, right? And when I'm with views, it's always this
like a second.
questionable. Well, views, as we know, because we've been down doing this for a while, views don't necessarily really mean anything. And we know this because, like, okay, I know that the reason we like to live stream. So if you're seeing us, we're live streaming to multiple platforms as well as to multiple YouTube channels in both vertical and horizontal. And we know vertical doesn't necessarily we're monetized. We don't make a huge amount of money, but in comparison, we get much more views on vertical, not as much money from it, but horizontal what landscape we'll get a little bit more money but less views because they actually have two different functions. Vertical will help you get seen. The landscape is where your normal people will see you and watch longer parts of your content, right? So when we take the step back on it, the whole purpose is to get seen. So you've got the ways and the entries to get seen. So okay, 15 million views on your short. great, but it's not going to cut it in February, right? If you really want to get to monetization, then you have to maintain it. So if you monetize on the shorts, the short monetization is actually much more difficult. I think you have to have that 10 million views within those 90 days anyways, right? Whereas to maintain the rest of the status was really 1,000 hours of watch time. So I think it's just easier if you do make longer content more than the short. But if you've got if you can master the short, great. But you have to also realize, like, this is something about very much overlaps with what we talked about on the Honestly Though, about what they're actually saying. So they're saying views. Okay, so what does views really mean? How long are they staying watching your content? Are they subscribing? Are they becoming long-term people? Because the reality is what you're building is something that you want to last, and you want authentic people that aren't going to just be like, "Oh, you made one viral video and then they never see you again," right? Or they're not that interested in your content. I guess that's my point.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, because let's face it, YouTube, while it's a public thing where people are putting their video, it's still run off of ads, right? So it's here for you to document your business and make content, get subscribers. YouTube's running ads. Realistically, advertisers are going to, like, we know from looking at our longs versus shorts. Certain length makes more money than shorts, right? So I think they're just also, they want consistent creators, because they're like, hey, we want advertisers want the word just went, oh my, that's terrible today. Advertisers want consistent data, consistent creators out there, and it's just, I think realistically with shorts creators, that in order, they're just going to hold you to a higher level, because they want consistent shorts coming from your channel.
Yep.
Long form, you can literally, it is just more lax, because hey, you can just pump out one video a week, live, pre-recorded, whatever the case may be. And as long as there's just more, you got more runway on your video for ads. That is what I'm trying to say.
And it's easier to maintain. It is. It's easier to maintain doing one video and a long form to keep yourself at that YPP status going forward, which we highly recommend, right? But it's about asking those questions. So I want to say a shout out. I was actually looking and I didn't realize we may not be seeing all of the people in the actual messages. So I want to say hello to Miranda Daniel Prater. Thank you for joining us. We got Turbo. Oh, I already saw Turbo Valicia. She was on the other one. So I don't know. Some of them show up on both, some don't. We also have the Martin Tech. Welcome. So thank you everybody for joining us. And let us know if you do have a question about YouTube, drop it in. We'll open it up for any questions if you have any questions about this as well. But yes, we really just want you to make content so you can be seen. That is the whole reason we've talked about visibility. Monetization is a nice little perk to the side. When you do get that lower level, I just want to remind people, especially if you're building this as your business, as a way for people to find you, start to know you, start to trust you, showing your competence in a business, getting to that low level, the 500 subs and the 3,000 watch hours can still be super beneficial, right? Because you open the ability for people to support you. You open your online shops that are linked to your YouTube. You get a bunch of little things anyway. So there's not like, you've got that perk, which is nice. However, if you can get into the full program before then, why not? You might as well, because this is just going to help push your stuff to be seen. Because when you are monetized, whether they say it or not, they prefer monetized content because it's better for them, right?
Exactly. So I'm like, let's leverage. What YouTube wants to do is have content, because, like, I don't even know what the numbers change every single week of how many eyeballs. It's like, how many eyeballs end up on YouTube versus all the other platforms, just because there's so many more independent creators now, and people are looking for unique content, right? I was actually going to bring this up. I don't know. Have I on any of the Saturday mornings, have I talked about the RV store that was like in Alberta, and
Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah,
they're
you
not
mentioned that. Yes, yes.
okay. So realistically, what's how and I've run into this in my past from talking to like videographers and people who worked for Paramount and whatever. Like people I know in the industry say, make your own content because that's really realistically going in the future. Make your own content. That's how you're going to get discovered. There
Mhm.
is there's this RV store. I never, I knew of them. We lived in Alberta. Our house is in Alberta, Canada. There's this online RV store called Young Farts RV Parts, right? And I'm like, and I don't really think they had much of an online following because their YouTube account was really small,
Yeah.
but they're hysterical and they just their brothers. They just beat each other up all day, and they smash RVs because they got an online RV parts store, right? Obviously, they got the attention of somebody, and now they got their own like season one on Amazon Prime Video. So, and they're small. They're not like Mr. Beast. They might end up
Yeah.
being the size of Mr. Beast, but it's
Well,
just
and
like
it's just the opportunities it presents itself. You don't ever know who's watching your content. You really don't.
precisely.
You don't know who's watching, where they're watching, and when you get the opportunity. But if you don't put out that message, and this overlaps with what we've also been talking about. If we talk about the energies, we talk about this a lot. We do the show every week. We are under the Leo energy, under this eclipse, which is all about visibility and being seen. So it's about also having the courage to be seen, and that's highly aligned. So really, if you are close to monetization, you want to get those watch hours, and especially in the next 5 minutes, next 5 minutes, go get all your hours in your next 5 minutes. I mean, in the next 5 months, because we're not only under this eclipse about being visible and all of that, which I thought was interesting that YouTube is kind of like at the end of this like eclipse is like when it's changing its
Well,
criteria to do, which I
also
thought was an interesting coincidence, right?
Also remember that they kind of reduced it first, right? So it was always 4,000, and
Yeah.
then they had dropped it down to 3,000. So it's like they opened the door for a little bit, but then that was also when the AI content started getting pumped out, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, hey, we made it a little bit easier for you. Oh wow, we grew so much, and now we're gonna just tighten it up a little bit for we're just
Well,
gonna
I
make
feel like there's
changes.
probably a few factors because they did make it easier to hit that one level, but you're so close to monetization that I wonder if this is also an incentive for you to really develop that section. So by the time, so let's say you get to the 500 and the 3,000 watch hours, you open the fan, you open the online store, you start building that stuff while you're still building your hours to your 8,000. And then I think ideally that stuff should start to be developed if you're working on even one of those components. So by the time you got monetized, you're probably, I think their idea would be you be a little more set up for success by then, where I believe if you look
Well,
at
I
traditionally
think
now
it's
with sorry, before you make your comment, but before with most creators, when I'm running into them in the creator groups that I'm getting involved in and stuff like that, we're like over monetized and then trying to work backwards setting these things up, if that makes sense. That was the
I
point.
was just gonna say that 100% where the 1,000 where the 3,000 hours is really more so about building the community and memberships and stuff like that. I think it's really, hey, get here, focus on, we want these internal systems to work, so we're gonna force you to focus on them, because
Yes.
focusing on them and building community should actually get you to 8,000 watch hours in a year. This was always the like double-edged sword with the YouTube partner program, was really like doing all the work to get your 4,000 watch hours. Because I believe that was the interval that we hit before they downgraded to 3,000 watch hours. So we hit the
But it's not quite the same, right? Because of course at that 3,000, you don't get the same perks as you do right
no,
now
no,
with
no,
the
no.
4,000, right?
Exactly. I'm just saying that it was okay. You interrupting me is completely making me lose my train of thought. So just keep going.
Sorry.
Oh no, no,
It's a
no!
good
It was so much pressure once you got into the YPP because you're like, hey, I worked extra hard organically, advertising, and getting my subscribers to subscribe and watch my long form. I got my 4,000 watch hours, and now I can go turn on like it's just because. there was so much stuff to learn once you got to the monetization window, saying, oh, hey, your stuff's not automatically monetized. You actually have to go turn on monetization for everything that you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it was just like, you get to that, you get over that hurdle of getting monetized, and now you're like, oh, okay, wait, now I have to like
Level up.
perform,
You do. It
right?
does. I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I was getting money off my, off my content. And they're great, right? Like if you can make some money off of what you're doing, that would be a goal, right? Make some residual income, side income from making content, right? However, there's a lot of things to kind of learn, and you realize it's not necessarily as easy as you wish, as you would like it to be. And because you might get views, but if they're not staying long, you're not making very much money off of your video, right? And then you're going to be like, oh, well, okay, I've got to do a better quality of video or keep people engaged or whatever you need to do if you want to make it worth your time. So you get forced to almost level up once you get into that monetization. So everyone's like, yeah, I want it. So I think this is just like about fine tuning that as you go through, there's perks that you can add to, right? And you can start developing, but build that community, because I think that's really what the emphasis is going to be, right? You get 500 subs, 3,000 watch hours, start building the community, use these tools while you really focus to that 8. But in the meantime, let's take advantage of these 5 months, right? Like if you are close, let's get you monetized. So first I'll do a shout out. We have a Depors. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm glad you appreciate what we're doing. Thank you for joining us this morning. But Mike, why don't you go into some of the urgency over the 5 months? So why don't you go over the numbers? There's and give us an idea of what that kind of looks like if you wanted to get your watch time. I've got a couple of examples in there. It says the urgency 5-month window, and then it gives us a couple of examples there.
Urgency, the 5-month window. Okay, because I really we have show notes like any content producer, and I was not sure where we were in the show notes. So, but I'm like, wait a minute, we went over this, but we didn't go over this. So, urgency,
and
5-month window.
Lucretia is joining us this morning. We've got Lucretia.
Hey, good morning. Yes. So, from now to February 1st, September, October, November, December, January, 5 months. Make your content. Get it done. We've had people comment, oh, I'm going to restart in September. No, guess what? It's August 15th today. We're halfway through August. No excuse to not start planning it out this week. And, organic, if you're not at that subscriber threshold yet, time for you to start organically promoting yourself. Like, email, posting on social. There's so many ways for you.
People don't know about it. They can't.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like, it's like everywhere I go, I'm like, hey, subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube. Doesn't mean people are going to subscribe to it, but they won't know about it unless you're telling them and asking them to subscribe to your YouTube account, right? And if they ask you what content you make, tell them. And, because
start being brave to be seen. That's the energy right now, like going into that, right? But with the numbers, like, okay, this is what I like, just to kind of point out some examples with the numbers. Okay, if you have 800 remaining right now, so let's say you were at like 3,200 hours, right? If you think about that, 800 hours, you've got 5 months, should be quite obtainable. And the more content you have, the easier it is to make that, right? So if you do go live and you make an hour of content and you have once a week, let's say we've got 5 months times 4, so we got 20 weeks, right? So even at just one person watching your 1 hour for those 20 weeks, you get 20 hours of content or of view time, right? Now, ideally, we're going to get more than that, right? So the more you show up, the more you can multiply and, I don't know, make that number happen quicker, right? Do you know what I'm saying, Mike?
Exactly. Well, what do we tell people to all of our students? We're like, hey, you've got relatives, you've got friends, you got people in your streets. Get them to support you. Literally tell them, hey, I've got YouTube, you got a smart TV, go subscribe to me and watch my content. Literally, super easy to get watch hours if you tell everybody you have a channel. Because I think that's a problem. Is a lot of YouTubers, like we've met YouTubers at YouTube events, and they're kind of like, some are outgoing and some are super shy. And the super shy ones seem to have more subs than the ones who are out promoting themselves. So I'm just like,
Oh my, it's funny. Okay, let's step it back. Well, let's just say in a real life example. I hate getting my picture taken, but I am totally fine showing up on camera and moving around and being like, you can post that everywhere, but don't make me take a picture because my face is gonna look like this. Because as soon as you turn on that camera, I cannot show up in front of a picture, but a video where you can see me in all my dimensions, I'm all good with that, right? So it's
eh,
so it's
I'm like,
interesting.
Julie, do you want to pose for photo? No, I'm good. But you can like, I'm fine showing up in the whole video for the event, and I'm like, but I'm trying to make a Facebook post to tell people where we are, and it's me always in the photos. So
Because I don't know, I just, like, totally get that weird, like and it's I've noticed it my entire like, all my adulthood about, like I've had even people try to coach me because 'cause they're like, "If you can relax or whatever," but it's like, as soon as you tell me, it's like I'm unconsciously gonna make the weirdest face.
So I was so my example with telling your friends, family, your neighbors that you have a YouTube channel and for them to go watch it. Realistically, all you need is one person or two people a day watching your content. You'll get to those watch hours. It doesn't really 1,000 subscribers watching your content every single day should knock this out of the park for you.
Well, and in fairness, though, you need content. So we're coming back to the
Precisely.
problem we legitimately run into. You need content. People can't watch your content if there's no content. So let's talk about strategies. So if you kind of go down, like obviously, what counts is, of course, public long form videos, live streams, whether they're vertical, horizontal, both. That's going to double it up because you're getting more possible views, right? So you're going to get more watch hours if you're doing both, right? Replays are going to get them. Those type of things will definitely get your hours. What isn't is anything, of course, if it's private, unlisted, deleted, obviously those type of things are not going to give you the watch time, right? And
Is,
short,
it, is that a change I'm not aware of?
no, it's pretty much. I think it's the same thing, but maybe
I'm
now
unlisted.
clarify.
Unlisted has always counted towards watch time.
Well, they're saying it doesn't, so that might be one of the newer things, is that they're saying that it
Mm.
doesn't anymore. So we're gonna have to double check that.
Okay.
But if it's public, you're for sure gonna get your watch time. So that you can for sure get is if it's public, you will. That back end, I'm gonna say I don't think you do. And it might not you might after you're monetized, but I don't think it's gonna it might
No,
there might be a difference. I don't know.
I need to verify that because we've brought up in the past where some channels don't realize they are actually qualified for monetization because they have so much watch hours on their unlisted. So I need to double check that
Well, the
because
watch hours, like, okay, if they're getting all those watch hours, then you would almost want to convert it to public so they can actually probably
but
benefit
it's
more.
because it's course videos from a
Yeah,
course and they're just
exactly.
no
So if they're
so
making yeah, if they're doing it another way that you're paying for their course and access, it's a different one, right? But yes, anything public is going to count towards your watch time, right? So that is the what you want to remember. Why don't you go over well, first it's consistency, right? Why don't we talk about that? The strategy?
okay. Be honest with yourself. Most people watching this aren't over posting. You're under posting. Or you're not posting at all. Remember, I come across I call people out for this all the time, and I'm trying to be really nice about it. But if your YouTube background, if your YouTube banner says new content weekly, and I go and I meet you, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go check out your YouTube and subscribe to you so I can get to know you better because your content's there, and then you're advertising you're posting weekly, and then you haven't posted in 6 months, I'm gonna call you out for that because realistically, you're giving your audience mixed signals, right? So we want to post consistently once a week, get those subscribers, getting their notifications that you're going live and building up that know like and trust with your audience, right? Because when you
Well,
ask
sorry, and part of that consistency is part of the consistency does really help showing up at the same time, because then that way people are going to expect you, especially if you start making that consistency, they start to know you're always showing up at that time. Now it might adjust because, as an example, Thursday, we've been going live on at 7 p.m. However, this past Thursday, it wasn't going to work. So we either could have recorded it, but we decided just to do it a little bit earlier. But we're still doing it on the same day. So we're just really trying to bring as much consistency so your viewers, especially if they like what you're making, know or anticipate when you're going to be on to go look for your content if they miss a live as well, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we had we've been having return live viewers, and even though we went early on Thursday, I'm pretty sure the subscribers were in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
as usually there's certain ones where you're just like, oh, you're back, and oh, like we celebrate when you come back and you're dropping chat comments in the chat.
Exactly. So yeah, so really it is the public watch hours do move the marker with that time. But you've got to be consistent, you got to show up, and you've got to have content for people to actually watch.
Correct, right? And you might find it might be easy for you to do, or build that content out, organize it into playlists, and just you can have different content streams. We do 4 live shows every single week, right? So they're all related, but there's like 4 distinct shows, and there's playlists on our YouTube channel for people to go, oh hey, it's a content. It's not like each show connects to each other. Like you don't have to watch them in order, but it's just like we just it's nicely laid out for you to discover the content. But
Exactly.
again, we're showing up weekly, and one of the strategies for weekly is just scheduling it ahead of time, so that way when people come to your channel, if they're meeting you for the first time, you can. We use Restream. It's really easy to schedule your future lives, and we're putting the thumbnail up, the titles, the description, so you can see that there is upcoming content in the next week to watch and enjoy 4
Well,
times a week.
exactly. And we do our best to schedule as much in advance as we can, but sometimes I don't have everything prepped, so it only happens like the day before. But it does give you that thing, because the nice thing about certain software like the Restream we're using is it feeds it back to YouTube. So once I set it up in Restream, it goes to YouTube, especially once I've set the schedule. So then when you're watching on YouTube or you're following us on YouTube, we're going to be live at this time, which makes it just so much easier to get your message out there, right? So it's just consistency, being visible, sending that message out consistently, right? Did you want to talk about the long form versus shorts versus lives?
Okay. So 20 million short views in 90 days is a huge number for small to mid creators, because, well, let's think of it. Engage, in order to get any type of views, and I don't know if who's watching, what your experience is with posting shorts. Are you in that like 500 views per short, or 1K or 2K, or like what interval of views have you been able to achieve with your shorts?
Mm-hmm.
And now the requirement's 20 million. That's not me as a creator. I'll be honest, that's not me as a creator. All my stuff is like, hey, here's how we're gonna fix your text, your computer, build your YouTube channel. All that is like it's just longer content, right? Um, so in order to get to 20 million shorts views, there's like no universal correct answer for that. It's like it depends on your audience, your content, your business, and how realistically just how many views are you typically getting on your shorts? Whereas long form, as long as you're pumping out a video a week, alive or pre-recorded or whatever, and you're solving some, you got in your business explainer videos or whatever the case may be, is just typically easier to just make that with shorts. You're going to have to be editing that stuff down, and it's just how
Well, really, it is the shorts can help you get discovered, especially if you're a smaller creator. So it's not a negative thing. However, if you're going to game it that's how you want to get monetized, that's going to be a harder level to hit. But shorts are still not bad. Like, they're a good thing. They will give you probably more views, right? So if you really want that vanity number and you want that pat on the back, you'll probably get more views from your shorts right off the bat, but it's a way to get discoverable for your longer content. So having some shorts to help promote your long is a great way to do it as well. But obviously, the easier way towards it is doing that longer content for that visibility and for the length of time and getting the watch hours. Now, of course, one of the other things with being live, that really helps because that'll help you build your community. So you're starting to interact with people that are following you. And it does really help with compounding your life, your watch hours, and it is then the video on demand. So I find for myself with ease, the reason we do these lives 4 times a week is that I'm holding myself accountable. If I had to go pre-record them and then put them up, I'm not necessarily as motivated, and I know that, than me going, okay, I've put this in, it's been put in public, I'm publicly telling everybody there, whether people are going to hold me accountable or not. In my own mind, I'm held accountable because I've put that out publicly, right?
But
So they
you
all
also,
have a different tool.
but you
Sorry?
also like your content. So
I
and this is the same advice we give to all of our creators, all of our students, is like, make the content and watch your own content. Like, put it out there and watch it. Put it out there and watch it, because you'll catch things that you want to refine. You'll find that you watching yourself because, oh, hey, I covered this, and now I want like a version, like part two, because you like when you go out to create content, you're like, hey, let me tell you, just document what you're doing, because other people are going to want to learn from you because you got more experience than them and want to know how to fix something. They want to know how to implement that. And as you start learning the craft and the skill of recording yourself, going live or pre-recorded, whatever, you're just you're like refining your craft. And then you're like, oh wait, hey, I would just watch my video and it was good, but now there's all these other, you're giving yourself further content ideas by going back and watching, enjoying what you're making yourself.
And, that's like anything. It's learning, right? And adapting through your learning, but you have to see what you're actually making. And this is where I sometimes think with a lot of creators that kind of want to skip things where they hire or outsource people. They don't first off necessarily know the process, which we've talked about before, and how that can cause you problems later on. And on top of that, it's like, is that the message you really want to portray? And when you're watching your own content, you learn more from yourself than if, like, you got to get over the cringe thing, because we are in this time. This is going into the next thing I really want to cover, because I mentioned it a little earlier, but it's really with this theme, the courage to be seen. It's consistency and building before you need it. That is the theme of this time, right? And that's just so appropriate. The Leo energy is under this eclipse, visibility, visibility, visibility. Can I say visibility a gazillion times? I feel like a broken record, okay? It's about being courageous, about expressing yourself, and it's no, this is a longer chapter. It's not just one lucky day. So like we've got 5 months especially to take advantage of getting yourself into a process with the goal to hopefully attempt to get to that why, to become part of the partner program. But even if you don't get it, being visible now can totally streamline you for where we want to go in the coming years. And if you don't do it now, like, okay, thinking about it, if you start now or continue or up or increase what you're doing from maybe not much, right? Now, think about how much more you'll have in 5 months, right? How much more experience, how much more content, how many more subs, how many more watch hours you're going to have just from doing something different, right?
Oh,
So the astrology, I just have to say, isn't going to earn you watch hours. However, this period is asking you to have the courage to be seen, and the practical bar for being seen is getting harder. So what are you going to wait for?
for the timing to be right, or for
This is
years,
the right time. If
2
you're waiting
years.
for the
Come
right
on, I
timing,
hear
timing is
excuses.
now.
I hear excuses every single week about content. They're like, "Hey, Mike, why you got this cybersecurity business, but you're doing YouTube?" I'm like, "Yeah, because YouTube lands as clients, and when I can walk into a room and talk to other IT guys or anybody else in any other business. And I'm just like, hey, what type of content are you out there making? That's like, it's either great that they are making content, or they're like, oh no, like you need somebody to coach you through this so you can become confident in your ability to say, yes, I make content, and here's where you can find me. Because if you tell me to follow you on Instagram and I haven't seen you post on Instagram in a couple months, I'm like, okay. Yeah, you need somebody to give you some confidence to get really good at making this content, because this is how your business gets visible, is by people meeting you and then you telling them, hey, to learn more about my skill, my craft, my business, whatever, go follow me on socials, because
Well, and making content, right? So not only
yeah.
not promoting it, making it for the practice, and just being seen, right? And that's how you're going to also stand out to all your competitors, right? Because when you start showing up, like that is the big thing that stands your ground. And that's how people are going to know, like, and trust you. Because again, we're going back to the point of the time we're in, really, right? And everybody wants digital. And at this event we went to on Thursday, everybody's like, well, I wanted to watch this at home. I would have watched
Oh
it
yeah,
for,
yeah.
this and this and this. And people want that flexibility. I still think there is value in meeting people in person, even if I don't necessarily always like being with people. There is value to that. However, there's a lot of value to having digital content. So when people can't physically get near you, they're still being introduced to you. They're still getting to know you. They're still able to take away whatever service, offer, information you're providing, right? So
Right.
let's kind of summarize this up, because I want to ask Lucretia if she has any questions for today as well. But I wanted to kind of summarize up the YouTube and the changes, right? So we've got 5 months to use them. This should be this motivation, okay? YouTube ad revenue is one stream. It's not the whole business, as we've been talking about, right? Visibility drives customers, clients, book sales, get you memberships, courses, speaking, consultations, sponsorships, brand awareness, email list, community. It gives you so many benefits. Monetized channels does not equal that that's going to be a functional business, vice versa. However, together they work, right? So that's the real objective, an audience that knows why you exist, that you're kind of feeding into it for all those benefits. And so, as always, like, it's always the best time to start, but definitely now, right? To start getting forward towards those watch hours. And even if you don't make it to that 4,000 by February 1st, if you have no watch hours now and you start working on it, imagine when February comes, how many watch hours you already have. And then you just have to get to that next level. Might be a little more challenging, but that's okay, right? Like, we just work and keep doing those steps. So whether you're close, I would highly recommend you, come and work with us, or really get whatever you need in place to go forward with what you need to get yourself to that 4,000 watch hours and that 1,000 subs. But our visibility engine, we cover strategies, we cover everything, how to do the lives, how to do all these things, and we help people with that. So we're going to be starting our next session in September. So if you are interested and want to get some help, join us. It's at I Am YouTube Facebook. Do you have any comments on that?
It's been updated. So we've got tracks, group coaching and one-on-one coaching. And that it's as simple as that. All my contact us information's at the bottom of the website. So if you have any questions, reach out, because one-on-one is highly customizable. If you need us to fly into your city and bring a videographer and force you to make content, that's one-on-one coaching. For everybody else who can, wants to just show up every single week and get, group coaching, that's, that both options are available to you. We've just had a lot of requests for flying in, and then we're like, okay, that's fine. It's just, we gotta plan all that and bring a videographer to you, and
So you can go and choose your own adventure. Choose your own
exactly.
adventure.
It's now
The most
choose your own
important part of
adventure.
this event, the most important part of this adventure is becoming visible. So go and check that out at IamYouTubeFamous.com. And now let's open up. Now, how are you doing today, Lucretia? Did you have any updates, anything you'd like to share with us, or any questions that we can help you out with this morning?
I'm doing good. Um, I don't know if I necessarily have questions. I'm trying to work out my upload issues. I'm trying to do things a bunch of different ways so I can figure out what like really works for me and how I like it and to see what it does for views. Not that I have a lot of subscribers, but I tried one thing and now it didn't upload. It keeps getting stuck at the same spot. So now and I've done it for like 2, 3 days. So now I have to find a different way. But it's just like a learning thing. 'Cause I don't think I can I don't think it's the video I don't think I can change the video file to make it work.
Hmm.
But I don't even know how I would do that because I don't want to cut out some of the content that I've talked about.
How
Like
how long's the video?
it's like 52 minutes, I think.
Okay. So at
It's not super
50
long.
so at 50, like, obviously we've told you that the way we've been uploading stuff to YouTube, anything under an hour, we've just been using Restream, right? So we upload ours to Restream, and then we just schedule it to go out as a live, and then that's just live streamed right to YouTube. So we'll have to just and you're not you're on your normal internet connection.
Yeah, I tried a couple different internet connections to see if it was like that, but it still keeps getting stuck. And my Restream account limits me to 30 minutes,
No,
and I
I
really
know.
don't
I think we talked.
pause.
I'm like, this is why we like using Restream on a paid account, just because as soon like it
Yeah,
just works. It just works. It gets rid of all the headaches of browser, like doing the upload straight to YouTube from your browser, because each browser is different. And I know we've
yeah.
shared in the past Chrome versus Opera versus Safari, and we're just like, okay, depending on what computer you're using, the browser may be affecting you. So that's why
Well,
And
Restream
I
is
think
so
I
nice.
have like
I was just going to say your comment is quite appropriate because the reality is every person set up like Mike's saying, like what browser you're using, what your computer's like, how much storage, like all these factors can totally change your experience of getting as simple as a video up, right? To find out which ones work the best, or if it
Well,
is like, like I realize with ours, um, browsers can sometimes be an issue and that they don't update properly. And then finding out that I didn't even know that just this other browser existed that I now use to use my Restream, right?
well, even when we came into the broadcast studio this morning, like all of our lives are like prepped, so they show up on YouTube, and you can come in here and with this Restream broadcast software, you can preload images. And we came in and I'm like, oh wait, there's no images in here. And Julie's like, I've done this already. I've already uploaded these images. And I'm like, see, technology is fun. And sometimes when we think we're already prepped and 100% ready to go, we're not. And you're like, why is the upload freezing? And yeah, 52 minutes is long. So it's not long, but it's still long. It's almost an hour. And I know that is why I really like Restream, because as soon as it's on Restream, I know it's gonna work. It just uploading a file that big. It just also depends on how large it is. So yeah, it can be frustrating. But that's why we try to give you the tools to make your life easy.
Well,
yes.
and sometimes it is just practicing and just finding out because I think you because there's not a way to really make that any smaller. Do you think it's a size or do you think it's like the software you were using? Do you have any idea what it might be?
So I originally I tried doing it through Descript, which has never given me an issue before, even on longer videos. Um, it just it comes up, um, and then I it didn't. So then I tried like just downloading it and uploading it through like my original browser. Then I switched to Opera. Then I switched to Safari. It had more issues with Safari, like it didn't get as far with Safari.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's the video file. I was gonna take some time and maybe like see if I could trim it a little bit more. But like this is when I've refilmed because of various different reasons, and then I didn't like the way it was. So then I hate editing. I should just
No,
go live.
I
But
know,
it's been like
I
on my
know.
day
And
for a
so
while, and I want to get it up.
maybe you just want to chop it into 2 parts, and then we can figure out if it's like upload, because it can be challenging with large like I don't even know, because it's realistically 52 minutes. It could be anywhere from like 300 megabytes to like a gigabyte or something, depending on what quality it's shot in and file format. But as long as YouTube accepts it as an upload, as a format, and it allows you to upload it, it shouldn't be getting stuck unless it's having like timeout issues with the internet, right? So
Yeah. So just something I'm working through,
okay.
but
Okay.
we'll get them. It'll get up this weekend sometime.
All I can think of, Lucretia, just makes me laugh back to back in the late 1900s, as we like to talk about, where we all had dial-up, and I had a friend making me a CD, so they were illegally downloading off of, oh my gosh, I can see the image in my mind. What was it called, Mike?
Well, there's a lot of them, so it could
In
have
the
been.
90s, what did we all use? It was
Oh yeah,
LimeWire.
it was first Napster, then everybody
There we
copied
go,
that.
Yeah.
Napster, right? And it was like however long it took for this to download. They eventually got me my CD.
4
It just took
days. 4 days per
4
song. 4 days per song. Come on.
days per song to download. And I was like, and I'm telling my daughter this. I'm like, back in the
When,
late 1900s,
when,
it took 4 days to listen to this song. You could stream the
when you were
music.
the rich friend and you had 2 phone lines in your house and the second phone line was tied up completely with dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like did we move
And,
past that?
and
You
your
know,
friend,
especially when you have
yeah.
these upload issues.
Okay,
There's still not enough internet.
YouTube didn't exist back then. A way simpler time. There was no pressure on us as business owners, content creators, to make content and be. Yeah, we always thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have those 15 minutes of fame? And you're just like, I'm just pumping out
Content all the time. Well, in fairness, the most important thing in the late 1900s and early 2000s was a website, right? And now people don't even have websites. It's so ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to judge you. If your business is only on Facebook and you don't even have a website, like, seriously, there's no excuse. Like, they're free. You should have a landing
But
page that you actually own, not just Facebook. But that's a whole nother story. So, on that,
I
is there
ran
any
into that this week and I was shocked. Like, I was like, I swear they have a website. No, I had to go through their Facebook photos to figure out what I was looking for.
oh,
It's awful. I don't like using Facebook for that. I honestly will choose a different company if they only have Facebook, because the reality is your website is so much easier for me to just go and get your information than that Facebook one. I don't know why that's been normalized. I think that's one of those normalizations that I would like to see not exist.
you know why, Julie? You know why? Because they met a marketer, and the marketer's like, you need a Facebook business page. Not thinking even about a website, Facebook business page.
And I'm not against it. It's not a bad idea to have a Facebook business page. I'm not against that. But why has that replaced you having just you can legitimately open free websites now. Like, there's so minimal cost. At least that's where you land. So if Facebook crashes, you get banned, something, you still exist somewhere because you're probably not making content. Right? So it's just, it's weird, it's strange, but that, if we want to be visible, you want to have all those things, that there is as many places that you show up as possible, right?
Come on, Julie. I know people who've won ClickFunnels awards and they don't have a website.
It's good. It's how to work the system, right? So
Exactly.
on that, is there anything else that you had, Krisha or Mike? Did you have any other comments for today, or shall we summarize up our morning?
Let's summarize up, because I've got season 2 Don't Get Hacked to go film. So
Perfect. Well, let's go over again. This is the time to be seen. So you know that things are changing. It's going to be easier if you want to get into the YPP program, the monetization program. This is the time. Use these next 5 months to build it up, or at least give yourself a running head start that you will take off when you go into 2027, because you need to be visible. That energy is not disappearing. You know, the goalpost may be moving, but you don't have to stand still while it's happening. You can start to use this time that wants you to be creative, wants you to be visible, wants you to be brave and to be seen. So use this time and accelerate it, right? Go and join us at I Am YouTube Famous. So you can come in, join us. You can join our newsletter so you're up to date with everything. Or as always, you can just get us and work with us, and we will help you get to the goal that you want. So that is, any other comments on the YouTube visibility, Mike? Or visibility engine, which is not only YouTube, because we want you everywhere. That's why you become the lighthouse.
Go to the website, IamYouTubeFamous.com. There'll be a pop-up to get our email newsletter. And then, I've been telling everybody the best way to start is group coaching, because you can get an idea of how much, our community that we already have, our weekly calls we have with people, and just get to know other YouTubers. It's nice to know other YouTubers who are working towards the same goal as yourself, right? Because we have students, everybody's just working on their content, and everyone's gonna have tech issues, right? It doesn't matter what device you're using, and it's just nice to have a private group. We don't stream those calls, we don't record them. It's just a private, like, once a week, midweek check-in to say, hey, good time to ask for help, especially if you're like, hey, I'm running into the same tech issue, or I need an accountability buddy, or whatever the case may be. It's just a good midweek check-in where it's private, and you can ask whatever
Well, we
questions
help
you
you.
have.
We'll answer your questions directly, right? And so that's what we do. We will help you. We'll give you the best advice we can and help get you with the best tools and get those tools working. Because often it's like, okay, well, how do you use this, or how do you use that? I can kind of use this, but I can't really I'm struggling with figuring it out. We become your assistants with that.
It's literally the cheapest way to get tech support from me is to join our group coaching. So
Exactly. So go and
take that.
join us and stay up to date as well with everything going on. And as always, we show up 4 times a week live, so you can join us. So wherever you're watching, make sure you do subscribe on your way out. We are live tomorrow night at 7:11 p.m. We are going to be looking at the energies for next week and how they align with you being visible. We've got our 2 real, 2 truths and a lie. I haven't put that together, but that'll be Monday night at 7. That is one of our great, really, really fun ones. Guess which one isn't real? And it may be just a matter of weeks before it truly happens in our lives. And every Thursday we are live at 7 p.m. Eastern with our Honestly Though, which is a mixture of the energies and the news and looking at the patterns and what is going on so you can make better decisions. And then, of course, we will be live again next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern for Visibility University, where we're here to teach you, have this conversation. Come with your questions. So if you have any questions, you can come join us live, drop them in the chat, and we will answer them for you. Any other thoughts before we head out, Mike?
No. We'll see you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yes. Have a great Saturday. We will see you tomorrow as well. Have a great day. Bye.